Uh, Alright, hello. Oh my god, my voice. This is a different thing than what I'd usually do, but I don't know. I thought this was a good idea. Someone's probably already done it already, I haven't even looked it up. But, yeah. For stats, this won't include, like, monthly towers and, like, what was the other one that I need to say? I should have written this down. Oh yeah, it won't include Pit of Misery stuff. Okay, right. Number 41, go. Alright, so I don't think this is going to be a particularly hot take, but Tower of Inception is easily the worst tower in the entire game. Not just the worst, Soulcrushing. It's got a bunch of Kenkalite false traps. There's like so many quarter studs, it's actually criminal, and every single part after like 5 is a GBJ, unless you can like high jump out in a couple of them. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna cut this short because there's no need to spend any more time on this. Alright, yeah, it's another stupidly easy choice. It's another near tower. The two worst are by the same guy. It's got a stupid amount of fid studs, it's unbelievable, like the last one. And there's a bunch of unmarked conveyors everywhere. This outside section on 2 is stupidly hard for no reason whatsoever. The only thing saving this from being worse than Tower of Inception is the fact that after like floor 4, this tower gets stupidly easy. For God knows why, I don't know, this tower's really old. Anyway, yeah. This tower didn't actually used to be Soulcrushing like 2 years ago, but it is now. This tower just suffers from being so incredibly boring, it's unbelievable, especially the first half. It's got like a couple annoying conveyor sections in the first half, and then second half there's a net, but the difficulty spikes massively. Mainly floor 8 outside, there's this one jump that just kills so many runs, it's unbelievable. Floor 9 has like a couple hard wraparound sections that aren't really used in any other insane towers, and floor 10 doesn't really get much easier either. It's got a couple hard wraps and then it ends with a really annoying conveyor section again. Anyway, yeah, number 38, go. Again, this tower is just well boring, I can't lie. The first floor is really uninteresting, the second floor has these like stupid unmarked conveyors. Floor 5 is awful, because there's like these weird corner wedge things. The last 2 or 3 floors spike massively, mostly these wraparounds on floor 8 and this wobbling platform on floor 9, but then it decides to end with like a well easy final stretch, I don't know. It's weird. Okay, right, next one. Okay, this will definitely be one that will be disagreed on, but oh my god, don't even get me started on this tower, I hate it so much. Just the random spikes everywhere make this tower so unenjoyable to grind, believe me, because I had to play it for 5 fucking months and I hated every single second of it. Floor 3 outside is just an absolute mess in difficulty. I don't even know what difficulty, if that's meant to be horrific or if that's meant to be like insane difficulty, I have no idea. The countless GBJs are awful. Floor 8 and floor 9 GBJ specifically are just the worst thing I will ever play, especially floor 8. It's not fun at all. There's also these random 2 jumps on floor 4 that are just the worst, most RNG things to ever exist in like this game that I've played for what, like 5 years now. I hate this tower so much, it's unbelievable. The difficulty is just absolutely all over the place. Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting now. Number 36. Right, okay, so this tower is the biggest pain in the world to play through. Essentially the gimmick is that on on all of side A, it's all like just regular tower, but on side B it's all GBJ, which obviously just is not a good gimmick at all. The only thing holding this from being way further up the list is the fact that side A is just the easiest thing, just like ever, is like remorseless difficulty. I don't know. Yeah, there isn't really anything good about this tower. The only good thing is that it uses the best Camellia song, and that's like it. There's definitely some big choke points though, like just like the entirety of the white floor on side A, which I think is floor 6, I can't remember. Lots of the blue floor and just like the purple and the yellow floor all on side B. They're just a massive difficulty spike, especially this speed section and like these couple of wraps as well. One more thing, this moving platform lasts for like 10 years and there's no point. It literally lasts 40 seconds of just you standing still. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, this is where some of the towers in the video get somewhat tolerable, but they're still not great. Impossible Movement is like baseline terrifying in Ring 6, and it's just the most average Ring 6 tower I've ever seen. So, not that great, essentially. The tower is filled with these like weird wedge things. I don't even know what they are, but they probably take up like 5 minutes of the entire gameplay in the tower. And there's like a lot of spikes, and I mean like a lot of spikes. There's this random floor 6 extension, which is like an entire floor that doesn't count as a floor for God knows why. Oh hey, look, it's another weird wedge thing. Oh, that's gonna take me 10 fucking minutes. Yeah, floor 7 is just abysmal. It's just not fun at all. This wraparound, yeah, it's not fun. Floor 8 is just ladders, that's kind of it. Floor 9 is just slightly more annoying. Oh look, another weird wedge thing. Floor 10 is hard on the inside, but it's quite short, and the final stretch is very easy. You don't even need to worry about that. Anyway, number 34. Alright, so this tower pains me to put it here because it starts off so good, but just the difficulty spike on 9 is too much to ignore, so I have to put it this high up. Floor 1 and Floor 2, especially Floor 1, start out incredibly easy. But that's just kind of to settle you in. Floor 3 and Floor 4, again, they're very easy. Floor 4 has a really cool gimmick as well. Like the frozen parts that like fall is really cool. Floor 5, it's just so good. How they messed this tower up, just, it pisses me off to no end. Floor 5 has a really nice vibe to it, and that's what this tower does really well. Floor 6, now that the spinner speeds have been nerfed, is alright now. Even Floor 7 outside is, although a bit of a spike, it's not that bad. And Floor 8, it's a spike, but it's tolerable. But then you just get to Floor 9, and it just completely ruins the difficulty. If Floor 9 wasn't in this tower, it would probably drop down to in the lower regions of insane, to be honest. Floor 9 is just painful. It starts off alright, but then you get to these weird like spinning parts, and it's just, under pressure, is just way too difficult. And then you've got this speedrun section with the spinner. It's just not fun. It took me so long to pass this section, I could not do it. Floor 10 is basically free now that they've nerfed that final walk around. So yeah, it's just annoying. Floor 9 completely ruins this tower for, I feel like, a lot of people. Anyway, yeah, number 33. Alright, so forgive me here, because I haven't actually played this one fully forever. I only actually played it till about 4-6 until I got incredibly bored. But ever since Uncanny Agony got in Zone 7, these types of towers seem to be just popping up all over the place, and I really hate them. Like, when this got in, I was very annoyed that another tower that I really wanted to get in did not. But anyways, whatever. It's just a weird tower. It's got like weird jumps It's got like weird wall hops that I don't like. There's these corner clips that are just strange. This tower's really learny as well. And just like, there's not very many nets either. Like almost all of it, you're over just an outside, which isn't just isn't fun. It's also this wall hop on floor 6 I just hate, and that's the point where I stopped playing. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, so this one kind of suffers from the same issue, except from this time I physically couldn't play the tower because it was so laggy. Oh my god. This tower from like the first floor or two I played, before I just gave up because I was playing on like 2 frames. It just kind of feels like the last tower, but if you copied and pasted it and nerfed it slightly. It's got the same design, it's got the same like wacky jumps and mechanics, and I just hate these. I hate these type of soul crushings. I'm not going to enjoy it when I try and beat it, but I probably will try at the very least. The only thing that kind of saves this tower is the music is kind of good. Anyway, yeah, and the next tower I've actually played. Okay, so if you watch my video on TOCR, you'll probably know that I really do not like this tower at all. It's just the purism. It gets to a point where purism is just too hard to be put in a tower, and I feel like this tower just kind of crosses the line a little bit. For the first half, I don't actually have too many complaints. It's not awful, while floor 1 is a bit boring, to be fair. Floor 3 has this one really annoying jump, and floor 4 spikes a little bit, but that's kind of it. But when you get to floor 6, it just becomes too hard. Floor 6 especially has way too hard gameplay, and the gameplay just kind of isn't my type of tower. I don't know. The trusses are weird. I don't like trusses. The only thing that saves this is floor 10 is pretty good, I'd say, and the final jump is pretty cool and pretty iconic as well. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, so this tower is actually not bad, but it just kind of suffers from being a little bit boring, and it gets quite dull after a while. It's got good just like part usage. It has like various mechanics just using like just completely regular parts, which I guess is cool. It's got like these black things that are like objects that you can't see, I guess, and then there's like fading things which are also objects you can't see, and then there's like inlet things that are like also objects you can't see. Oh wait, I think we see a theme here. Yeah, they are. It's alright, I guess. The only bad part about this is that floor 10 is pretty difficult, and then the final stretch is way too difficult in my opinion. It should be easier. This tower is probably not insane really. It feels more towards baseline extreme in my opinion. Yeah, anyway, next tower. Alright, so this tower is actually pretty good. There's just a couple, maybe like 1 or 2 floors that kind of bumps it down. Maybe like 10 spots, I don't know. Floor 2 and 3 and 1 for that matter, they're just a bit boring, to be honest. That's my only issue with them. And floor 6 is just not very fun either, because it's got like an instant kill spinner, which is just a bit annoying. Other than that, those towers are actually pretty good. Floor 4 I like a lot because it's got like the falling platform things throughout like the entire floor, which is kind of cool. Floor 7's good. It's got these it's got like a button hunt kind of deal. Beyond that, the gameplay is actually really good, to be fair, especially 8, 9 and 10. There's only one spike on floor 5 where it's just got these like weird wedge things, and it's got like half stud jumps as well. But apart from that, this tower is pretty good. I like it a lot. The last jump is also kind of cool. People know it a lot. So anyway, yeah, next tower. The main reason why I put this tower here was because I couldn't really remember anything about it. All I remember is that it was like purist, and upon playing through it, I can see why I don't remember much, because it's not. It's just average. That's just kind of it. It doesn't really have any spikes like pretty much all of the previous towers. It manages to keep its difficulty balance quite well. The only spike it really has is after floor 7, sort of in between 7 and 9, but it has a net on like 3/4 of the floor, so it's kind of fine, I guess. Yeah, it's very easy to save yourself on this tower when you're like 5 floors up. The only thing is, it has a lot of skips, and if you use all the skips, it like nerfs this tower to like mid insane, high insane maybe. But if you don't use the skips, it's like low extreme. Anyway. Okay, so I haven't actually played the new version of this tower, but it's kind of not my fault considering it feels like this tower gets updated every like 2 months. So yeah, this might be a bit off, but I don't know. This tower's good. It just has a couple things I don't really like, which bumps it down a couple of spots. The design isn't too great either. There isn't really much design, or this is quite an old tower, so you can't really blame them. Tower crossings are nice. That's cool because you don't really get to see those very often in game. The wall hops, I'm really bad at wall hops. It's just kind of biased. I don't know. The ones that are over nets are fine. I just have problems with wall hops that are not over nets, if you couldn't tell by the TOEMP placement. Yeah, there's a specific wall hop on 9 that I really do not like, even though it has been nerfed a lot. There's also 2 GBJs on 8 and 9, which I think have been nerfed from what I remember now that I've played through them, but I don't know. It seemed a lot easier, although when I beat this, I was 2.5 years younger, so. Floor 10 has been changed a lot. I have no idea what's going on my screen, but it's cool, I guess, yeah. And the ladders on the last part have been changed to trusses, which is good as well. Oh yeah, and that last jump that's like really hard is still there. Oh yeah, one more thing. Floor 6 outside is not a spike, and people say it's a massive spike. It isn't a spike, it never was. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, so this is the tower I'm currently grinding at the minute, and although I feel like a lot of people would put this way higher up, I kind of like the tower. The only bad parts are just like a couple spikes, like a couple jumps on floor 3, and then floor 9 just being way harder than the rest of the tower. But apart from that, it's actually pretty good, I guess. Floor 5 and 6 have like a nice vibe to them too, which is kind of cool. Floor 9 has a couple jumps, I'll put them on screen now, that are just way too hard in my opinion. This tower's very long though, so it's mainly got terrifying gameplay. Floor 10 is actually mostly easy, despite me failing it 3 times. Floor 10 is mostly easy. It's got like 2 jumps that are hard, and then that's kind of it. Yeah, this is the jump I failed on, if you're wondering. I got flat-sided. Yeah, anyway, next tower. For the time this tower was made, this tower is actually very good, and it manages to keep the spikes very minimal, which for like an early 2019 tower is very good. The only problem I have with this tower is that its floor 8, like walk around section thingy, is probably a bit too difficult for low insane, but that's like literally the only issue. Obviously the thing that bumps this down a lot is the design being essentially non-existent. But the gameplay is really good, and there's a bunch of skips you can kind of do to kind of speedrun it, which is cool. Floor 10, the final outside is, people say it's really hard, it really isn't. I don't know what they're on about. I don't know. I never found it very difficult. The final jump is cool, I guess, even if I couldn't do it on video because I was using VM. Anyway, yeah, next time. Okay, so this tower got in Zone 7 like a year ago now, and is still the only tower to ever manage to do this style right, really. It's got a bit of wacky jumps, so it's got like beat blocks and fading parts that have different times and stuff, which is cool. It also has a lot of button progress. Pretty much every outside section will give you a button to just skip all of it. Tower definitely starts getting hard around floor 7. Especially on the outside section, it gets quite difficult, but again there's button progress, so it's not really that big of a deal. There's also this lodge on floor 7 which is just not fun at all really, but it's not that big of a deal, I guess. Floor 9 and 10 definitely do stretch the difficulty a bit. 9 outside is hard, but again there's button progress, so it doesn't really matter once you've done it once. Floor 10 is just overall harder than the rest of the tower, but it doesn't actually show many spikes, which is nice. The final stretch is pretty much meaningless because it's like intense difficulty, probably not even that. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, this is the last tower on this list that I haven't actually played through. The most I've played is like the final stretch, and the same amount I've played on the tocp video from a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, the first two floors are alright, don't seem peak cadder or whatever this difficulty is meant to be. This jump is awful, and I like these things. I don't know what to call them. Yeah, it's obviously the hardest tower in the game, so it's pretty iconic, but I haven't played it, so it only made sense to kind of put it towards the middle. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, so this tower is one of those towers that once you've passed the first couple floors, you've essentially beaten the tower, to be honest with you. The first 4 floors are way harder than the rest of the tower, because the rest of the tower's in like remorseless difficulty. The main hard part of the first 4 is these pushes on 4, which are very complicated to work out how to do. After that though, there's like a net on like half the tower every time, so it's very easy to just completely fluke the tower from that point onwards, really. There's a small final stretch, but it's not really very difficult at all, if you can even call it a final stretch, to be honest. So it's either way, it's an alright tower. It replicates the design of Forgotten Ridge quite well, so I think it did a good job. Anyway, next tower. Okay, so this is probably what I feel like everyone's first Soulcrushing. I don't know why, but it definitely was back in the day. This tower has 3 sides. It's got side A, which is floors 1 to 5 normally, and then half of floors 6 to 10, and then the side B, which is a quarter of floors 6 to 10, and side C, which is a quarter of floors 6 to 10. Side A is mostly easy, to be honest. I don't know. My opinion would probably be different if I was still an insane difficulty player, but whatever. The only hard parts are just a couple jumps of 5A, and 9 and 10 have a bit of a spike, but the thing is with 10 is that you can just skip like almost all of the hard parts very easily, so that's that. The main complaints people have about this tower is side C, quote unquote, being the biggest spike of all time. The main reason why people say that is 10C being, in fairness, difficult, more difficult than the rest of the tower, but it's not a mental spike. The only difficult parts really for this difficulty is like the trust jump and the last 2 wraparounds, to be honest. Other than that, the last jump's pretty iconic. It's an alright tower. For the time, it's pretty good, I'd say. Anyway, yeah. Okay, a lot of people really like this tower, and I get it. It's got really good design, especially for its time. It still kind of holds up today. But the gameplay, the style, is just not for me, to be honest. It starts off at like a high extreme sort of difficulty, just like regular tower, but then it pulls in a bunch of nets around floor 5 and floor 4, and the difficulty gets way too hard in my opinion. To be honest, once you've gotten past floor 4, as long as you just have like 4 hours to hand, you could beat this tower very easily. All you need to do is practice 10 GBJ and the dice, and that's kind of it. Speaking of 10 GBJ, it's a little bit of a spike, but it's not too bad. And dice is very easy as long as you practice it a couple times. I recommend like trying to beat it 3 times in a row before trying it. The dice is definitely a reason why this is further up on the list, because I don't know, I think we can just all agree that dice is really cool. Yeah, anyway, next tower. Okay, so if you don't know how this tower works, let me quickly explain. Essentially, every floor is harder because every floor represents a difficulty on the difficulty chart. So it starts at easy, goes to catastrophic, with the exception of insane and extreme being in one floor. The thing this tower does really well is that there are an absolute ton of skips on the first couple of floors, which makes it so you don't have to play through like all the easy floors just over and over again. After 6 on intense, there's a net, which is good because again you don't have to play all the easy floors again. The only couple roadblocks are the conveyors on insane, which I got stuck on for a little bit, And on Terrifying, which by the way, Terrifying is definitely harder than Catastrophic, easily. Terrifying has these really awful truss jumps, which are very, very hard for the difficulty, and this conveyor jump as well. Floor 10 is pretty much completely flukeable. It's very easy, it's nowhere near as hard as Terrifying. Overall, this tower is just very flukeable, which is nice. Anyway, next tower. Okay, I can't lie here, but the vibe this tower gives you for the first five floors completely carries. I can't lie. The music fits just so well in the first 5. After floor 5, you've got this big outside section, and I mean like really, it like wraparounds the whole floor. But after that, there's a net, which is nice, I guess. It keeps the difficulty down. But then after floor 8 or so, the tower's difficulty just kind of goes out of hand a little bit. There's a quite hard outside section on 9. And then 10 has a very hard final stretch, as well as a very hard like final spinner as well. If it wasn't for those, this tower would definitely be way lower down, but that kind of definitely bumps up probably about 8 spots. So, alright, number 18, go. Okay, this tower is really good. It's got a good use of like, just like client objects and stuff. There's these like click things where if you click on them, the part will like appear and you'll be able to stand on it and stuff. Overall, it's just got good use of client objects and stuff. The frame and the design are pretty good as well. We're getting to that point in the video where the towers actually start getting really good. So, cool spinners, cool stuff like that. The only couple of problems I have is floor 6 and 8 outside are a bit too difficult, but they both have button progress, so it's mostly fine. Oh yeah, and the music also slaps as well. Yeah, it ends with easy final stretch, good solid insane tower, definitely deserved to get in. Although, actually I say that, Whirling Uprise was also pretty good, so I don't know. Yeah, anyway. This tower's pretty good. It's pretty wacky though, and I'm not the biggest fan of those, but it still managed to pull it off decently well. The frame looks really cool as well, but the design on the inside is a little bit lackluster, which puts it down a couple spots. The difficulty is pretty much spot on. They keep it consistent pretty much all the time. With the nets and stuff, the nets make the difficulty go up a little bit higher, but not too much. Couple things that I thought were cool. Spinning wall on 7 or 6 or whatever floor it is, pretty good. The fact that there's a wraparound on every single floor, and that's like demonstrated in the last jump, also pretty cool. And the corner flips, it's got good use of corner flips. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, so a lot of people probably disagree with me having like this tower this far in the video. Really enjoy this tower like a lot. My only problem is that the difficulty can be quite inconsistent at times. For example, the first 3 floors are way too easy. The use of the magnifying glass is cool. It's used mainly throughout the tower. Floor 5 has probably my favourite button hunt in the entire game, to be honest. Floor 8 and 10, they use these really cool spinners, which is cool. Again, another issue, floor 10's difficulty is way too hard, especially when you go like in the frame, but on like one of these corner parts where you don't have a net. It ends with a fairly easy final stretch. As long as you've practiced it, it's alright, I guess. Anyway, next tower. Alright, so let me first get out of the way why this is so far up on the list. I really like the design. The use of the boxes is pretty cool. Yeah, anyway, this tower is mostly based on client objects. In fact, it's pretty much probably the most client object heavy tower in the game. Most notable ones are like these spinners that will like speed up and slow down, and like these little areas where you can't walk or you can't stop walking, you can't stop jumping, stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty unique. It's definitely a refresher compared to the other Soulcrushings in Zone 9 at the minute, but yeah, it's a good tower. 2 things that I thought were worth noting is on 10 there's this cool spinner. I like cool fast spinners on like final floor, I don't know. This tower is very punishing. It's definitely on more punishing side than most towers. So that's probably going to bump it down a couple spots, I don't know. And, oh yeah, the final jump is way too hard. That needs to be nerfed. That took me like 3 attempts, which is way too many for an insane tower. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, so lots of people will disagree with me with this tower being this late in the video, but I don't know. I really like this tower. I didn't used to like it when I was grinding it, but it definitely grew on me over the past 2.5 years or so. This tower, it feels like I don't know, it feels like an adventure, because there's a lot of different parts to it. The only downside of this tower is that floor 1s through 4 is so much harder than everything else that it does ruin it a little bit, because you will spend pretty much all your time grinding this on floors 1 through 3. Floor 5 is just a freebie. I don't know why it's so easy, but it is, and it does also has probably the best vibes in the tower. It's got a banging song, I can't lie. Floor 6 and 7 are a little bit harder, but for the most part they're mostly easy. But floor 8 and 9 are definitely no freebie by any means. But once you've gotten past floor 4, you can kind of guarantee that you'll get somewhat close to beating the tower. It all ends with like you on a net, but like the net's like this cool UFO thing. I don't know. It is cool. As long as you don't land on the instant kill, you'll be fine and you've beaten the tower. So anyway, yeah, good solid terrifying. Next tower. Okay, so for this tower, the gameplay just carries so hard, it's unbelievable. It's got really good basic client object usage, like it's literally just moving platforms and like elevators and stuff. It still just uses it really well. Oh yeah, it's also got these like honey things that are pretty cool. Those are used pretty well. I'll put some like clips up on screen or something. How this tower works is that there's 4 floors, just like straight up. There's a net, and then you turn a corner, and the rest of it's just outside. It sounds bad, but it's actually quite fun. For just a low insane tower, it's acceptable. And it also ends with a really cool final stretch as well, with like rising lava and stuff. Yeah, it's overall very good tower. I was very happy when I saw this got in. Anyway, yeah. Alright, so it's probably going to be another controversial one. This tower's like vibes, it just works really well. It's pulled off really well with the red and the neon and the music as well. This tower, pretty much once you're past floor 5, is an absolute safety net haven. Because you're only climbing up this one pillar in the center, you can pretty much always land on something only a couple floors below you. The only exception to this is floor 9, where there's this stupid morpher thing that everyone hates. Where this tower goes downhill is that floor 10, there's a massive final stretch that is way too difficult for the tower. If that final stretch wasn't there, this would definitely be insane difficulty easily. Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather there be a final stretch than no final stretch, but it definitely needs to be nerfed. Yeah, that's my only really complaint with this, to be honest. That's a lie, actually. Well, the only other problem with this tower is that it's so red that after you've been playing it for more than like 2.5 hours, your eyes will just die. They will ache so badly because of how neon red the tower is. It hurts. Anyway, yeah, next tower. Okay, so this tower is pretty simple, yet it's really fun to play. Essentially, the first like 4 floors or so are just straight up, more or less. But as you go up, the tower will like curve, and it'll go to the point where you're like completely outside, and if you fall, you're completely gone. The difficulty manages to stay the same, like almost the entire tower, which is really impressive, to be honest. And the design's really good. I don't know, it's a cool tower, I like it. It all ends with like this cool kill brick thing chasing you. I don't know, it's weird. It's like a final stretch, but it's not really, because the entire tower's been outside. I don't know, I like this tower, it's good. Anyway, number 10, go. Alright, so how this tower works is essentially the first 6 floors are just regular tower, and 7 and 8 are completely outside, and 9 and 10 are netted. It's good, but it's not going to be like really, really good just because of the gimmick. There's a couple cool things in like the first 6 floors, most notably whatever the hell this is. I don't know what I'm looking at. Floor 7 and 8 are a bit tricky, but they're not too bad when you've practiced them a lot. Floor 9 and 10 though is where this tower's downfall kind of is, especially floor 10, because floor 10 you have to go so incredibly fast to make that timer. It is unbelievable. Anyway, yeah, next time. Alright, so the main thing that holds this tower together is just the gameplay being very, very, very good. There's a lot of button progress in this tower as well, which makes it more enjoyable, especially in the first half. There's only two main spikes, which is floor 8 outside with this little like swirly bit. The gameplay gets quite hard there, but you only need to do it once because of button progress. But floor 10 is a massive spike just in general. Lots of the outsides, including like some really bad wraparounds and stuff. And then this like little low roof section is very difficult. Also, this is not Kata, this is definitely peak Terry, I can't lie. Alright, so this is my current hardest tower. I only beat this a couple months ago, so I still know this tower like the back of my hand, to be honest. Floors 1 through 3 are so much easier than like the rest of the tower. Is unbelievable. Floors 4 and 5 don't really get much harder either, but they're not over a net, so. Where it really gets hard though is floor 6. Floor 6 is a pretty big spike in difficulty. There's a couple wraps and jumps that are very difficult. Floor 7 and 8. Floor 7 just gets really consistent, and floor 8 is just very easy. Floor 9 though is again a pretty big spike. When the tower's so short, I don't mind it too much, which is why this tower's so low down. Floor 9 outside is pretty hard, but again, it's alright. Floor 10 is very, very, very short, but it's pretty much horrific difficulty with like jumps like these lodges, for example, and it all ends with 4 studs stick out, which is kind of nice. Overall, the design does kind of carry a little bit. The music is pretty good too. This is arguably the best design-wise tower in the game at the minute, but although that might change with Zone 9, I haven't played all of those yet. Anyway, yeah, next tower. To be honest, when I was playing this tower for the footage, all it made me want to do is just rebeat this tower again. I had a lot of fun playing this. The main gimmick of this tower is that there's a lot of progress lost bricks, as in like ones that will teleport you back a couple floors, but it's not that bad when you consider the tower's so short. The only real complaint I have with this tower is that the floor 5 wall hops are just kind of annoying. Other than that, this is a really good tower and definitely one that you should try and play. It's on the easier end of terrifying. Oh yeah, one more thing. Floor 8 has like a massive outside section which can get a bit annoying at times, but other than that, this tower is actually really fun, especially with the net on 6, so yeah, good tower. Number 6, go. Yeah, I like this tower a lot, even if I really don't think it should be insane difficulty in my opinion. The only real problem I have with it is that floor 7 is just, there's something wrong with it. I don't know what it is, I just don't like it as much as the other floors. Oh yeah, and the truss on floor 8, there's this one truss jump that's just really annoying and I couldn't figure out how to do it. Yeah, other than that, once you've passed that truss jump, the rest of the tower is kind of free apart from this very end part on floor 10. And, oh yeah, the final jump's kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, very good tower. I like the design. Anyway, yeah, next tower, go. Okay, so I can't actually remember much from this tower, but all I can remember is that it was really good. So it must be a good tower. Yeah, it's got good use of like these timed buttons things where they like go into the wall, and it also has a lot of button progress, which is nice for this type of tower. It means you can get up quite easily and get back to where you were. It split into 2 halves, like a grey half and a red half. Grey half is probably a little bit more dull than the second, but they're still both really good, and the design's pretty good as well. It has good use of like wall hops and stuff like that, and in the second half there's like these falling kill bricks which make a really nice vibe to the floor. Yeah, anyway, good tower. Number 4. Oh my god, I'm almost finished editing this I mean, this tower's really stood the test of time, to be honest. Just a reminder, this was made in like late 2020. That's almost 4 years ago now, and it's still like one of the best towers in the game. This tower's atmosphere is just incredible, and atmosphere is a lot. If you somehow haven't played this tower, I really recommend it. It's so good. Like, just the mechanisms that is in the tower, like using just basic client objects, is so cool. Just the nerves when you're on an outside section, even though if you fall you're probably in lava anyway. It's so good, man, it really is. And when you get towards the top of the tower, the fog will start to like go whiter and the music will change. The music really helps with the atmosphere, I can't lie, it's so good. This tower is really good. And then the final stretch, just to top it all off, it's just hard enough to be a challenge, yet to not just be like really annoying. I love this tower. This tower is so good. These 4 towers were really hard to fizzle down into an order, but I got there eventually. Anyway, yeah, number 3. Okay, yeah, this tower's atmosphere is also really good, but it's completely different, which is kind of cool. It uses a lot of neon and like force fields, which is just standard Chloe tower, to be honest. It's got a decent amount of button progress. Floor 3 and 4's atmosphere is really cool. I'll put a clip on now. The only slight issue with this is that floor 8 does feel like a bit of a spike sometimes, but apart from that, like, this tower is really good. It also has like the tocp things, which I like. They're very cool. Floor 10, you've got like 3 lives, and like the last pendulum is probably like the coolest final, like I guess final jump in the game. Anyway, yeah, top 2, go. Okay, so this tower is really good. It's got good use of client objects and stuff. It has these like boosters, and it's got these like double jumps and stuff. It also has some good use of glitches as well, like wall hops and flings, stuff like that. One thing I do really like about this tower is that every time like there's a little bit confusing part, there's like animation of a guy telling you where to go, which is nice. It means you know where you're going. Yeah, this tower's really good. The design's really good. Essentially, there's like, you get 5 lives and you have to go through the entire tower with those 5 lives, and there's a net on 2 floors. Really cool concept, I like it a lot. Yeah, this will probably be the tower I play first when Zone 9 comes out. So yeah, it's really good tower. Anyway, finally I'm at the last one. I've been editing this for so long. Right, final one, okay. This tower is really good. All the concepts, it combines like so many different Soulcrushing towers into one. It's so good. The first 3 floors are just like regular gameplay, but the gameplay is really good, let me just say that. Yeah, the design as well is really good. But then it splits off into 2 sections in the middle, and you get to choose which section you play, which is cool. Personally, I'm a blue person, which I know is a very unpopular opinion, but it's easier for me, I guess, I don't know. Red floors, you get 2 floors of safety, and then the last floors just completely unnetted, which I like. Now that exclusively would be like maybe 3 or 4 on this, that's probably behind bench trauma. But the final stretch, oh my god, it's so good. First of all, you get to pick which song you choose, and that's between like 5. By the way, there's only 1 correct option. It's so good. Just the song, like the little black parts that like glow and stuff, it's so good. I literally don't have any complaints about this tower at all. This tower's perfect in my opinion. Oh yeah, one more thing, the cutscene at the end is pretty cool as well. But other than that, yeah, that's this video. This has taken so long, you don't know. Yes, thank you, bye.